Speaking of guys that talk, what about the Paul brothers?
Now that would be a fun one. I would let's be honest. I'll give it to you. That would be a fun one. These guys have done an incredible job of I mean, and it all works out. It's the circumstances, the times that we're in, to where we're dealing with the worldwide pandemic. We're just starting to get through that. We're dealing with the, you know, economy as bad as it's ever been. People are losing hope all across the world in different elements. And at the end of the day, we all understand that one of the biggest things that can keep life going, keep us going, is entertainment. And these guys, here they come at the perfect time, here to entertain. Bunch of YouTubers that are now pretending to be fighters. So it's a spectacle. People want to tune in, people want to pay attention to it. And I commend them for that. But for them to try to portray the fact that they are actual real fighters is kind of disturbing. And it would take somebody like myself to step in there and really show them that there's a difference in entertainment and actually being the best fighter in the world.
Absolutely. Kamaru, there's three African champions right now. That's pretty big. What do you feel as far as the UFC? What do they need to do? Do they need to have a fight in Africa? And if so, where?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's next. When you have three champions from a region at one present time. I mean, it's almost unheard of. I think Brazil's probably been the closest country, and of course U.S. of course, but it's almost unheard of to be able to do this, and it gives the UFC opportunity for them to be able to go into a new region and break ground. And what magic would it do for the people of the continent of Africa and just people all around the world? For all of us to be able to go in, people that come from very hardships and hard circumstances, to elevate ourselves to this point to where now we are motivating the masses all across the world. It would be monumental. And of course, having myself in Israel, both being Nigerian, and Francis, Cameroonian, also from West Africa, that's just the neighbor. So I think it's definitely something that should be done as soon as possible. And I'm guessing in that West Africa region for sure.
Kamaru, you've had a lot of magical moments inside the octagon, but you shared a very special moment with your father, your last fight. What was it like wrapping that belt around his waist?
It was incredible for me because I just, for years, me choosing to get into this sport and just only talk to my father about it and share it with him in that way. Just let him know, hey, Dad, I'm doing this now. I'm doing MMA, and him not really understanding what it is, and saying, oh, that's too dangerous. I want you to be careful. And me starting to get my feet wet and let him know that I'm in the right circles. I'm with the right people. I'm under the right tutelage. And I'm learning the right things to get to a certain point, a certain level one day. And then to have him slowly start to witness that on TV and not really being able to be there live. It was incredibly difficult for me, but one of those goals was one day I want to be able to wrap this belt around him. And how blessed I am to still be champion, still be dominating, and share possibly one of the biggest moments of my career with him there present with me. So it was an incredible moment, and it definitely, it's humbling for me to really think about.
It was a beautiful moment for me to watch as well. I was there with you along the way, so I know what your father meant to you, what he means to you, I should say. Along the way, you've had a lot of great help, and one was a late Glenn Robinson. If you can speak to Glenn Robinson right now, what would you say to him?
I'm just basically that we did it. Um, when I came into the sport, and and you brought me in, and we would sit in Glenn Robinson's office, and Glenn would say this, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and of course I have to put in the work, so I'm more of reserved than to where I tell him, all right, we'll see. I'm excited. I want to work, um, and have those ups and downs, rocky moments to where eventually Glenn creates the opportunity for us, for me to get into the Ultimate Fighter and being able to represent our team, the Black Stallion, and making you talk me into doing it because I really did not want to do it, but making you talk me into it. I'm extremely grateful, and a lot of this down here in South Florida, a lot of people owe their career and the spark that they got in their career to Glenn Robinson. So I would just tell them thank you and that we did it. And we are finally here as the undisputed champion of the world.
Absolutely. You did do it.
Yes, he did. Champ, we got one more before we let you go here. And everything, of course, a lot of MMA fans have noticed Trevor Wittman's been in your corner now, and you've been training with him. What does he bring to the table that helps you bring it into the cage and the octagon?
He brings a lot to the table. I think starting my career, I spent a lot of time, obviously, down here in South Florida with the Black Zillions, and then obviously over to H Kickboxing with Henry Hoof. And the great thing about that is I was fundamentally trained well. With Henry Hoof, it was that fundamental kickboxing, learning how to see kicks, defend kicks, see punches, defend punches. The basics, I was able to learn that and have that embedded in me, which is the best thing that you can do. But then it got to a point in my career to where I wanted to elevate myself, and I needed a more intricate, a more day-to-day approach of those intricate details that start to separate you now from the rest of the pack. And I just couldn't get that because we had such a humongous team and guys fighting each and every time. So, the coaches can only be certain places at certain time. And, Trevor, I heard some amazing things about Trevor. And through Rashad Evans, I was fortunate enough to meet Trevor back in 2016 and train with him for the first time. But it wasn't until 2020, I believe, eventually said that I need this extra time, I need this extra attention, that I went down to Denver, Colorado, and started training with Trevor. And it's proven. Trevor has kind of added an extra element to my game. Yes, the fundamental has been there, but now Trevor has added those intricate details that is allowing me to now be comfortable being myself in that octagon and really expressing my gifts and talents. And it's starting, I believe it's starting to show in these fights.
It's great to hear Kamaru Usman here joining us on CBS Sports HQ. Hey, we'll miss you here in studio. We'll get you back here one of these days, but stay safe, be well, and hopefully we'll see you at least one more time this calendar year.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And Rashad, watch your mouth.
You know I'm that, baby.
Thanks, Chip.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.